Alright, YouTube, it's your boy Zxous, and we're back with another Goddess of Victory Nikke video. We got community reactions. I know you guys love these, so we got community reactions. So last night I shared my thoughts, my current thoughts at that moment. Obviously, my opinion from what I posted yesterday has changed now. Especially after like really realizing what has to happen with 2B in order for her to really like show those numbers. But last night, I guess 10 hours ago, I shared my thoughts on YouTube, and I asked people if they agree, if they disagree, or if they're 50-50 on it. So we're gonna read it, and then we're gonna see what people have to say about it and stuff like that. So make sure you guys subscribe and like, and also if you guys are not in the Discord, join the Discord, because tomorrow I'm actually going to start reacting to viewer summons. So if you want to join the Discord and post your summons for 2B in the summons chat in the Discord server, go ahead and do that, because I'll be reacting to that, right? A lot of you guys love that, and I hate that video because I know I'm going to get so pissed off, but we'll see. So yesterday I said, so honestly, like, this was right in the moment, right? Of course, like I said, my opinion has completely changed to this character. I do think, you know, she's pretty good. I do think she's pretty good. I mean, I thought she was always good in terms of damage, just slow. But I guess I say that here. So I say, so honestly, with the testing I've done so far, I'm not that impressed with 2B's damage. Or to put it in better terms, the way she does damage. And this is honestly the best way I would describe it. I'm not impressed by the way she does damage. Not by her damage. I probably should have never said this. But by the way she does damage. Because it just feels like she's not doing damage in terms... unless you use her burst skill or second skill. That's what it feels like. And I guess right now how it works is, what you want to do is build up your 2B and the characters around your 2B so perfectly that when you use her burst skill, she just does so much damage that we just ignore that she's not really doing enough damage when you're not using a burst skill or the second skill, right? So that's literally what it is. You're supposed to kind of just build her around a team that makes it like disguise that she does insane amount of damage that one burst skill. So from 1 million to like 30 million off the first burst skill, and then from that entire period into the next burst skill, she's barely doing any damage. Probably procced her second skill once or twice, and then you use the burst skill again. It goes from maybe by that whole period from 35-ish to like 50 or 60 million, right? Like, that's kind of how you want to disguise it for the 2B, right? Realistically. And then I said, I'm not complaining or sad, of course, because I'm not. I mean, I would have loved 2B to be a great character, which I think she is, but I don't think I wanted her to be the best unit in the game, right? Maybe a top 5, but not the best. It would be so silly if the best unit in Nikke was a character that's not even from Nikke and one that could never rerun. I feel so bad for the new players who ask, who's the best character in the game, and then have no chance of getting them, right? But I felt like I should share my current thoughts, right? Of course, 2B hits quite hard, but the issue for me personally is that it seems she only hits hard when she uses her burst skill, which is every 40 seconds, or her second skill, which ranges from 15-20-ish to 40 seconds. And I say 15-20-ish to 40 seconds because it really depends on how your build is for her. If somebody has a lot of ammo capacity, they're not going to have to reload before they can get off that first second skill. If you have a fast reload, you're going to be reloading faster than the next person who has slower reload and stuff like that. So it really comes down to how you build her, and your numbers are going to be from that 15-20-ish to 40 seconds, right? If you just have a horrible build, it's probably going to be in that 30 to 40 range. I want to say 30-ish seconds, but there's that, right? But I said depending on your build. Within the time you are not using her burst skill / second skill, you're dealing 5.99% of attack. And I think that's the real thing behind her, right? When you're not, like I said earlier, when you're not using her burst skill, the thing is, you're not dealing as much damage. So when you use the burst skill and the second skill, it's supposed to do so much damage that it just looks like she's done insane amount of damage, which she does do insane amount of damage. But in the period where you're using the normal attacks, you're not doing enough damage. She's a defender, right? Her being a defender hurts her in that specific case because she doesn't have great attack. I do still think she's good, but not as much as we hyped up. What do you think? So this last comment here where I said, I do think she's still good, but not as much as we hyped up. Now, I still agree with that somewhat, because we hyped her up. And I say we because a lot of people, obviously there were some people who were saying she was going to be bad. I don't think she's bad though, but I think a lot of people, including myself, of course, hyped her up to be like a top 3 unit in the game. And realistically, if you read her kit on paper, she is top 3 in the game, right? That kit specifically and how stats work in this game is the top 3 kit. If she was able to spam that skill 2, she would easily be the hardest hitting character in the game. I think that's no question, right? If that was like, let's say it went from 300 normal attacks to like 10 normal attacks, exactly like Scarlet's, she'd be the best character in the game. 2B would actually be the best character in the game, because 2B hits like, what, 2-5 million every time? 2 to like 5 million. My 2B specifically, it's 2 to 5 million damage when I use that skill 2. So if I was able to spam that, imagine 2 to 5 million consistently. And people who have the cores, I'm going to go for LB3 personally, but for the people who have the LB3 already or the core dupes, like, have invested into her, how much are you guys hitting on your skill 2? Probably what, 7 to 10 billion realistically. So she hits hard, it's just it takes long there. So we got 3,000 votes. 37% said I agree with my statement, 8% said they disagree with my statement, and then 55% said they're 50-50. So they're like here and there. So let's see some of the comments here now. So I feel like Anise being as powerful as she was out of the gate kind of anchored everybody's expectations a bit too high. Yes and no. Right? I don't think people were expecting her to be godly because of Anise, but I think it's just because of how her kit was on paper, right? And her kit still on paper, when you read it, it's fantastic, but it's just the time is there, right? So you kind of just need to invest into it to kind of get the kit you wanted when you first seen it. To kind of get the 2B that you've wanted when you first seen the kit, you have to like invest into her crazy. You do. So that's what my thoughts, at least. As much as I want powerful characters, I don't want power creep in this game to be so aggressive that new character at 444 can hang with invested pilgrims. When you think about it, those new characters shouldn't really even come close to pilgrims at the level, and if they are kind of close, it'll still put them at a better than 95% of every other character in the game. Just an opinion. Well, okay. I think honestly, when it comes to limited characters, I would want them to be, I would want them to hang with pilgrims personally. I feel like characters that don't rerun should have, maybe not. Let me take that back, because I think characters who don't rerun should have value in the game forever for the people who have pulled her during that time, right? So Anise is clearly going to have value in this game forever. 2B is going to have value in this game forever. Right, even the Mary, right? Look at the Mary, big artist, right? She's a great character for 2B now, and a lot of people don't have her because they didn't think she was gonna have much value. But now 2B is not only a great healer on your account, but she's a great character to be paired up with 2B, right? So there's a lot. These limited characters I feel like need to have some type of great value from when they drop until later, like when they leave, right? Because if they're never coming back, well, I think they're gonna rerun, but right now, there's no reruns happening in this game. So if they never come back, then it's like, it is what it is type. You know what I mean? So, yeah. It's to balance out her massive attack move, so it's understandable. There's also other Nikkes whose damage relies heavily on their burst, such as Dorothy. And that's true, right? That's actually the perfect way to describe it. She's essentially like a Dorothy, right? Where she doesn't do much damage herself, but she does insane damage when you use the burst skill. Right, but the thing is, Dorothy has a 20-second cooldown, so you're always getting spammed by Dorothy. If I could spam 2B's burst skill, which I can, but I would have to build a team around that, then it's a different story, right? But because it's a 40-second cooldown and it's a burst 3, that's what. But it's essentially like Dorothy's, I guess. That's a good way to put it. Let me heart these two. Dorothy, the 20-second cooldown brings cooldown as well. Okay, yeah. So somebody said it as well. Okay. I love Summer Knees, but this through the roof expectations that the player base now have on any upcoming limited / collab characters is her fault, or shift ups to be exact. Her coming straight out fresh from polls, then with the little to no investments to sudden rival, and even to some surpass Scarlet's damage while being a support for Scarlet, made everyone think that if they did it once, they can and will do it again. But I don't think people were like to say Summer Anise, like I guess to say that people were thinking 2B was going to be cracked because Summer Anise is cracked is kind of just incorrect to me, because we didn't know, like, nobody was saying 2B is gonna, like, actually, I think everybody was saying 2B was gonna be like trash, right? I think for the last 4 months that we've waited for this collab, almost everybody has been saying that 2B and A2 are just gonna be okay at best because the collab characters shouldn't be good in Nikke, right? That's based on the previous characters and previous limiteds. That's what we were all saying, right? So I want to say people really just start getting their hopes up when they seen their kit, right? When I got a niece, or even when a niece came out, I didn't really expect them to make 2B as good as a niece. That'd be ridiculous, right? Because 2B was guaranteed going to come in between a niece and anniversary. So there's no way that I could have expected, me personally, I don't know about the community, but me personally, I couldn't have expected 2B to be as good as a niece, knowing a pilgrim, the anniversary pilgrim at that, is coming right after her. So it doesn't really, you know, for me personally, I never really, like, I never thought of a summer niece once when it came to 2B. But if the community did, then yeah. Now that 2B is out and she's strong, no question, many feel like she's still lacking. The true OP/broken thing about her, she's still lacking. She's strong and still lacking. Was she, like, I guess she's lacking. What is she lacking in though? Because she has damage, right? If you're satisfied, like, this is how I would say it. If I'm doing 1 million before I use my burst skill and my 1 million jumps up to 60 million with 2B, and then I have to wait the full 40 seconds to get that again, then I'll be satisfied, right? Because that's essentially just 60 million through that entire period just being accumulated. Or not accumulated, but just basically being done before its time actually came, right? That'd be crazy. If I went from 1 million to 60 million, I'd love that, right? I'd be broken. And I think there's some 2Bs that are doing that or something like that, right? So I don't think she's, I guess when you play with the character, it looks like she's lacking, but realistically, she's just doing so much damage that it just makes up for the, like, damage she's not doing after you use her burst skill, if that makes sense. I think that's a good way to put it, right? She does so much damage that it just looks like she's lacking when you are not using her burst skill, though. Right, so when you use her burst skill, she doesn't say damage. After the burst skill is done, you're seeing no damage really increasing until you use the burst skill again. Right, but if you just want to go up by burst skills, then I think she's doing great. Okay, but she does have the biggest kick in the game, so I think that puts her in SSS tier. Low kick W. I agree with you. I was fully aware that her kit isn't mind-blowing from when they released her skill list. In my opinion, she is one of the better defensive Nikkes, and she works well as a Scarletless team in PvP thanks to her burst skill, or her burst 3 skill. Actually, that's a fact. You guys, the PvP video is probably out before this one, but she was fantastic in PvP. I'm not gonna lie. Other than that, she's kind of mid for PvE content. I wouldn't say she's mid. I think if I was going to use 2B, she would be my second DPS. All right. I don't think I would ever have 2B as a quote-unquote main DPS. Like, my first burst 3 option would not be 2B, but my second would be. So, like, if I'm building a team and I want 2 burst 3 units, right, it would be probably Modernia and then 2B for me. And then if I want 3, it would be 2B, Modernia, and Summer and East. I think that's what I would go with personally. But she is a collab unit after all, so I'll be using her for the entire event story. I'll probably be using her even after this, right? Because remember, Mast, even though Mast doesn't massively buff up 2B, you guys got to remember, Mast is also insanely buffing up every other DPS in the game. The crit damage and the crit rate. Especially Modernia, who stacks crit damage. It's a perfect combination, actually. So if I use Mast, 2B, and Modernia, and those two are getting the benefits from Mast, it's a perfect team. Because, again, Modernia stacks crit damage, right? He's insane with it. I'm seeing so many mixed opinions about this character, more than any character previously. I will say that. I think, like, this is kind of the character where the community is all over the place. Right? Usually with every other character, the community has, like, a solid ground and understanding of their ranking. But in this case, it's so all over the place. And I think that's due to the fact that we have different builds, right? And what I mean by that is a core 7 a core 7 2B is blowing any other core, like, 2B out of the water, right? A max limit break 2B is blowing out a no dupe 2B. So I think because most people are going to have no dupes, most people are going to have LB3, most people are going to have core dupes. those are like, there's like 3 different segments or 3 different groups towards the one character, and we're all having different opinions, right? The people who have no dupes are gonna think she's pretty mid. The people who have LB3 are gonna think she's pretty good, and then the people who have Core 7 are gonna automatically think she's broken, because the people with Core 7 have insane stats for her HP and her attack buff. The people with LB3 has way better stats than no dupes for the HP and stuff like that, and then no dupes just have basic stats. So I think that's why it's more all over the place, really, for this one character specifically. I think with A2, we should all be on agreement, right? I think she's more of an understanding character, but we'll really see there. To be honest, I'm also disappointed in her damage. I got her to 666 and fully overloaded, and I'm seeing significantly less return on my investments compared to every other character I put much investment into. Characters like Dorothy, Modernia, and Summer and Nice were better more immediately. Well, of course, I don't think we're going to say 2B is better than those characters right now. But it's probably, again, if you have, because if I promise you, if you get your 2B Core 7, right, it's going to look completely different. Or even just LB3, it's going to look completely different, right? But you most likely probably have no dupes. That's what I'm thinking right now. And also felt more rewarding to build up. Yeah, I see people saying she surpasses those characters for them, even Scarlet, who I don't have. And again, the people who are saying she surpasses those characters are the people who have dupes for her, right? Nobody that has no dupes for 2B is saying that 2B is hitting harder than Scarlet. I would like to believe. But let me know down in the comments on this one. If you have no dupes 2B, is your no dupe 2B hitting harder than Scarlet? I'd like to believe no, right? But that's really up to, I don't know. You guys let me know. I can't tell you because I don't want Scarlet. The only thing I can think of is the fact that I don't have Mast. Okay, there you go. That's another thing. Another thing with 2B is probably Mast, right? Mast was a character that a lot of people skipped because Mast came out in between the fact that Nikke already had confirmed there was more limiteds coming, right? So it was 2 limiteds, right? And then it was Nero and Mast, and then right after Mast were 2 more limiteds. Not only that, Mast was the banner that came up before Summer Anise, so people probably waited to see what the summer units were, found out how broken Summer Anise was, and then summoned for Summer Anise over Mast. Right, so a lot of people don't have Mast as well, obviously hurting their 2B more, because 2B without Mast is really just not good. I mean, I don't want to say she's not good, she's just, it's really just, like, if I'm being completely honest, it's mediocre. Without Mast, it's mediocre. She's not doing much. But with Mast, it's insane, because the crit rate, the crit damage, and the HP buff is all helping out 2B insanely, in my personal opinion. But does she make enough of a difference to go from slightly disappointing to literally top tier? Mast, honestly, she does. I would say Mast makes, for me personally, my opinion of 2B, my 2B with Mast is levels above my 2B without Mast. Like, if I was to have like another burst 2 support in there, right? Like, my 2B with Blanc and Noir is much worse than my 2B with Mast. That's what I'm saying. Right, and I've tested that actually, and it's true. So I think Mast is really just the character you need to have with 2B. But if you don't, you can run characters like Blanc and Noir, it will still do great. But it's just way better with Mast, honestly. I think the 5.99% was overkill. Maybe if they increase their attack speed in turn, but then that'd make her not an AR user. So that's a pretty nice opinion there. Like a pretty nice overview of the character from another perspective there, who barely has the, barely, like, I don't want to say barely invested, has invested into her a bit, but has no dupes and doesn't have the core characters to support it or back her up, right? Or back 2B up. So I think that was a pretty nice segment right there. Because she relies on team comps with max HP boost to make like 6% attack bonus worth more, mass noise, etc. Boosting max HP by 50% or more each raises the potential of her power by more than her own stacks. Literally. So that's probably, I'm not gonna lie, this is probably the best way to say it. Right here. 2B, this is gonna be the final statement. I think this is this comment right here kind of just gave me the statement I've been looking for this whole time. 2B relies on team comps. That surrounds her with HP boost. That's it. A 2B on your team who was getting simple attack buffs is not doing anything compared to a 2B that's getting HP buffs. Surprisingly, right? I don't know. I've tested that myself, and it seems literally if it's no HP buffs, then she's just not doing it. But with HP buffs, she's doing it. So I think with 2B, you really just need to focus around having those HP buffs for her. Characters you can use are Freema, Mast, Summer Mary, Noise. There's a lot of characters who can increase it. Even Rapunzel, after the first 15 seconds, 2 allies with the highest attack, she increases their max HP as well, right? So there's a lot of characters who can do it, but you really, when using 2B, I would recommend Mast, because rather than just supporting or bringing a character that just increases your max HP, Mast is a character who just increases your max HP and your damage potential. So for your other DPS on your team, they're also getting a benefit or a kick out of Mast as well. That's why I think Mast is the best partner for her, guaranteed, because she's actually helping other characters like my Modernia, for example, as well, right? Honestly, she seems pretty on par with my Summer niece. I don't know. I'm only level 160, sadly, so I can't tell, but I enjoy her a lot. I use Liter Dollar 2B Helm Privity. Okay. Depends on your team. 2B doesn't benefit from attack buffs, unlike Summer and niece. Literally, right? Litter is definitely not the best pair for 2B. I think Noise plus Freema / Volume plus Mast is beneficial for her. Yeah. So 2B is like just better with HP buffs. If you're using 2B with attack buffers, you're not gonna see much. Right? And the thing is, now when it comes to using Mast is also a character who increases allies HP based on her HP. So now you want to build gear for your Mast. You want to invest into your Mast a bit more, because the better invest in your Mast specifically, the more she's helping out 2B. So it's really like that. It's really, you have to invest in a team around 2B. That's what I mean when I say high investments. You have to invest into her with dupes somewhat, and even if you don't want to invest into her with dupes, another way you can go is investing into the team's max HP potential who can help her. But yeah, you can kind of see everybody saying, not gonna lie, you really need to invest to make her work, especially with party comms, right? So I think that's what we're all in agreement on, that she's really good if you have the team around her, right? Not like the supporters, because attack supporters are just not doing as much. But when you have the specific team around her, she's doing good. But this is a 22-minute video. I think we're gonna end it here. There's so much more comments, and I'm gonna read them all. All right, there's so much more comments. I think they're more just replies to like people's comments, right? What it seems like here, but it's pretty good. I think 2B is a great character now. If you ask me, when I made this, obviously I wasn't thinking about the team comp so much, but it really kicked in. I want to say around 11 or 12 o'clock last night, that she's just much better with the team comp around her, right? I posted this I think around 7 o'clock yesterday, but like around that late night, like right before, like I want to say maybe 30 minutes or an hour before I made my Gravedigger video at 12 o'clock, that's when it synced in. She's just better with a team comp. So you guys let me know what you think. It's your boy Zxous. I do think she's a great character if you put the team around her. And I don't think it's bad if you have to build a team around her, because the characters you want to run around her are actually helping out other characters that you probably don't want to like have the team around. So if you like main Scarlet and main Modernia, having Mast is buffing them up as well. Just as much as, not as much, but she's also buffing up 2B more, but they're getting a kick out of it as well. So you guys let me know what you think about this community reactions. I think this is a good discussion for the people who are still quite confused on 2B. I think this video right here, out of all the videos on my channel, will kind of like clear up minds, right, from everybody's perspective of their testing. But you guys let me know what you think. It's your boy Zxous. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out. Peace.